Hello, my name is Peter Parfitt. Welcome to the New Brick Workshop. I've just returned from a visit to one of the family to do a few running repairs. And I came back and I had to do a repair to this footboard for a bed that's a bit at the end of the bed. And as I was putting all these clamps together to repair this, I thought, I haven't said very much about Bessey recently. I've been giving away the plans for my Bessey clamp practice. So many people, and they all been saying, yeah, we love these clamps. So I thought, well, I better tell you where I am right now. Now, these are the K-body Revos. I've had them for quite a long time now. They're 1600 millimeters long, and they're my biggest clamps. And I find these really, really useful. Nice and easy, soft jaws, and they come together square, and that should make a nice repair on that footboard. Now I'm in the process of cutting the wood for a new Traxel cutting station, and I'm cutting it in such a way that, well, one part of this whole sheet of Medite moisture resistant MDF, one part of it will be for the new Traxel cutting station, and the other part will be just the right size as a new blank for an MFT3 top. Now, when you're using long guide rails like this, and you're doing a cut over a good length, it really is very sensible to try and use some form of clamp to hold the guide rails in place. And I just recently got myself a pair of these. These are the EZR rail clamps, or in fact they call them a table clamp, but I call it a rail clamp because of what it does. But the EZR table clamp, and it should fit most guide rails that are on the market today, not just the Festool ones. And this part just slides in with that bit sticking outwards, under there like so, move it forward as far as it will go, and then that's now tight. My guide rail is held in place at both ends, and I can now do my cut along the length of this sheet of MDF. And there we go, a nice easy cut. And removing the clamps is just as easy. You feel underneath for the little release. There we go. That's the release thing, just there. And as you move that, so it loosens the clamp. I think this is quite a good addition, really, because it's multifunctional. It's not just going to do this, but I can configure it in loads of other ways. So it can form as a normal clamp. But let me just show you the extra functionality of this particular clamp. Let me just give you this little scenario. This edge of my top here is probably about 20 millimeters thick, and I'm not sure how much that is. That's 55 or 60. And behind it is the MDF, so that's about 18 millimeters thick. And if I want to hold something like this in place just there against those dogs, and this is very similar to something I had to do a couple of weeks ago. Well, I first of all tried to use a clamp like this. And what happens is, as you tighten it, because this edge is thinner here, the clamp rotates away like so. So it's very difficult to tighten it. And the same would be true with a clamp like this. Just get it to the right place. Whoops. It's impossible to fix it because of that edge. But if I take this clamp, push in there, rotate, and now turn that round. So I've now got this part here, which can go up behind there. So there it is, it's up behind there. And all I do is now tighten it up. And that's now held nicely in place. And perhaps this illustrates it a little better. This is like a cross section through what I've got here. So if I try to use this clamp on there, as I tighten, so it's rocking this over like so. But with this one, going up under like so, I can now hold this piece quite well and very easily. So that's the advantage of this one-handed tabletop clamp. So it's got more uses than you can think of. And just like this, it works like any other clamp, not necessarily in an awkward situation like that, but you've just got a nice little one-handed clamp. And if you don't require this extra bit of depth here, you can remove this part, take away the little protector piece and put it just here, and then that gives you extra capacity in the clamp just here. So it's very versatile, very useful, and they're sold in pairs. Now I've had this EZS one-handed clamp for quite a long time. In fact, I bought a pair of them, and I think that came from the Bessey stand at the D&M show. I'm not sure. Anyway, I've used it quite a lot. You may have seen me using it. I can't remember if I showed it, but anyway, it was when I was making a shed recently. I was using it quite a lot to hold things in place. And I found it so useful, I thought, well, maybe I should get a couple more. And I noticed that they're being sold now, or something similar, not these exact ones, in sets of 4. You can get 2 small ones, they're called EZM 15/6 and EZL 30/8. And these 4 come in a pack. So I've got that pack. And what I read about was that they're quite versatile, because getting the end off here is very, very simple. You just push this little knob there, push it, and then you can configure it. For example, if you wanted a spreader, push that back. Now that's held on the end there. So you've now got a useful spreader. Push that back in again, take that off, slide that down there, push that back in there, push that in, and it's back to normal. And all 4 of these are the same, but I did want to get a slightly bigger one-handed clamp, and that's what led me to getting this set. And this one opens out to, actually, you know, I can't remember how far it is. Let me just check. That is now just over 300 millimeters. So one-handed clamps are very useful, and I didn't realise that those one-handed table clamp things that I'm using with the guide rails also double up as a one-handed clamp. So I'm now very, very well off for one-handed clamps. Now, throughout oodles of my videos, and those who are not native English speakers, oodles means loads. Throughout loads of my videos, you'd have seen me using the uni clamp, and this is the 300 millimeter one, I believe, and they're really nice. The reason they're so good is that if you're doing something reasonably delicate or some lighter work, then the clamps themselves are quite light. They don't have as much force as the bigger Bessey clamps, but sometimes actually you don't need a great deal of force, but you just need something that comes up reasonably square and reasonably easily, just like this. Well, I decided that I needed to get some longer ones. And here's a confession. I have been given a pair of these longer ones by Mr. Bessey, and only because I had a question about them, and so I was cheeky enough to ask them about these particular clamps, and they sent me a pair of them free of charge. And I think that's really nice of them. I am a Bessey fan, as you know, but I wouldn't recommend something that I didn't think was worth it, and I really think these are worth it. And these longer versions, again, a lighter clamp, but now with the extra capacity, this one's up to 600. And so that's very useful indeed. So I'm grateful for those. Now there's one more trick up the sleeve of all of these 3 one-handed clamps that I've shown you today. You take the end off, like so, and if you've got a bench with holes on, you can put that down through there. I'm going to reconnect this underneath the table. It's very easy to do. And now I can slide that down, and I can hold something on my bench top. And that also works with these big ones. I can put this through here, put this on from underneath, push the clip back in, move your piece of wood along, and there we go. So that even works with the larger one like that. So I think that's a little sort of bonus thing which is quite useful to know about. Now, years and years ago, when I bought all of my clamps, I think I bought about 18 or 20 of them all in one go. And I got a bit of a discount. It was from a shop in Germany. And I thought, oh, whilst I'm at it, if I'm getting a 10% discount, I'll buy a pair of these. I sing the praises of these. This is a Bessey strap clamp. And if I show you, you've got this long strap. It's on a little cassette here. And that goes out for miles. I don't know what the full length is, but when I was making a desk probably 5, 6, 7 years ago, I needed to clamp up this quite big desk, and I used a pair of these. I've used it for all sorts of things. And if ever you want one of the most flexible and useful clamps, get yourself a pair of these strap clamps. I don't know how much they are now, but well worth it. Many thanks for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.